We rolling deep across our 10 in the dirty South, where the rivers blend from Lake Charles to Baton Rouge. We riding with the Saints under them southern skies. We hustle hard, ain't no time to stop. Drive to the top, it's our time to shine. From Nola's heart, we redefine the grind. Southwest Louisiana, stand up proud. With every beat, we bring the heat, hear the crowd. From Houston streets to Lafayette, Low McNeese. Right, let the raging cages flow. DJ Dirty South, turn it up loud. Marking our vibes, yeah, we make our proud. Get on the bus, we coming alive. Drive to the top, it's our time to shine. From Nola's heart, we redefine the grind. Southwest Louisiana, stand up proud.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. I'm not going to start off a year ago how I did on mute. I quoted it right on cue. But what's up, everybody? Welcome to the 1-year anniversary edition of On The Go right here on Driving to the Top Productions and Dirty South Entertainment. That's right. 1-year anniversary show, baby.
Get back.
Get back.
Oh, it's going to be a good show tonight. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this live edition of On The Go, a special live edition of On The Go, right here on Driving to the Top Productions and Dirty South Entertainment. I'm your host, DJ Dirty South himself, Marky Mark. On this Tuesday night, this will be a two-parted episode. 1-year anniversary so big, got to be two-parted because there's a lot to talk about that will mainly involve the NFL draft. So it is Tuesday, April 28th, 2026. It was yesterday that made 1 year I started this show on Driving to the Top Productions, and it's been growing, and I'm going to acknowledge everything else towards the end. But with further ado, you guys know what to do. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You can find me on X at DirtySouthENT_. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Of course, you can find On The Go on Instagram as well at OnTheGo_TXLA. Driving to the Top Productions, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X. And how about this? For the first time ever, while we're going live like our usuals, YouTube, Facebook, and X, we're also live for the first time ever on Instagram. So I'm going to have some viewers tuning in on Instagram as well. Going to be a good show celebrating 1 year. And, of course, this is presented by POGGERS, the official vitamin supplement of On The Go, and by Rogue Energy, the official gaming drink of On The Go. Pick your poison, like I say every week. Go to poggers.shop. Or go to rogueenergy.com or download Rogue Energy on any mobile device. OTG is the promo code that'll get you 10% off of your order. That's Rogue Energy. You get a little bit of percent off as well with Poggers, but not much. But this show is mainly going to focus on right here. We're going to recap the 2026 NFL draft. So let's not waste any time because I got quite a bit. Now, I said this will be a two-parted show. I'm going to do my full recap on the New Orleans Saints with my guest tomorrow, a fellow guy of the show, Logan Graffita, of course, from Sports Etouffee and news sports reporter and all that. I know he now works for Baton Rouge. He's going to be on the show tomorrow night. It'll be a late start time, 11:30 p.m. Central, so be sure to tune in if you want to hear our recap on the Saints draft. We'll start with the first round. I'm going to quickly mainly run through these. I don't have much to say, but number one pick, we all saw that coming. The Las Vegas Raiders picked Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback out of Indiana. I saw that coming as soon as he won the not just the Heisman Trophy. I saw that coming when he won the Big Ten championship. But it was after that pick, it just had a twist. Everything shaked up in the draft. The second pick, the Jets picked David Bailey. edge rusher out of Texas Tech. This is where I think we all started thinking, oh, they were going to draft Orville Reese possibly. People were looking at maybe like Sonny Styles. They were looking at Caleb Downs, some of them guys to go in the second pick overall. No, they go to edge rusher David Bailey. Arizona Cardinals pulled another shot. They were like, okay, hold my beer. They drafted Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame. I didn't call that. I thought he was going to go to the Tennessee Titans. No, Tennessee picked up wide receiver Carnell Tate, somebody that the Saints wanted. But he was taken off the board. They put the Giants picking Arvell Reese at linebacker in the 5th pick. 6th pick, Kansas City Chiefs pick the first LSU Tiger off the board and the first SEC player to go off the board. The last guy to do that was another LSU Tiger in Jaden Daniels a couple years back. They pick up Mansour Delane, cornerback from LSU. That was a trade via the Cleveland Browns. They traded down a little bit. 7th pick, the Washington Commanders pick Sonny Styles out of Ohio State. The New Orleans Saints at the 8th pick, they get a wide receiver. I felt like they were playing chess because we all thought they were going to go with an edge rusher first. No, they went with a wide receiver. They found a target for Tyler Shuck. They get Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State. I love the pick. You'll hear more about it tomorrow night. Moving down the list for the first round, Cleveland Browns get offensive tackle Spencer Fano out of Utah, which was a trade via the Kansas City Chiefs. The Giants were back on the clock for the 10th pick. They get offensive tackle Francis Morigua out of Miami. The 11th pick went to the Dallas Cowboys. Big pick right here for them. They get Caleb Downs from Ohio State at safety, which was a trade by the Dolphins. They just moved down while they move up, but the Dolphins get offensive tackle Caden Proctor from Alabama. Then we started shaking up because I think we all said that the Mendoza was going to be the only quarterback to get drafted in the first round. I think everyone thought he was going to be the only quarterback, but the LA Rams looked at all of us and was like,
a bullshit, a bullshit, a bullshit, a bullshit.
They called an audible. The Rams drafted Ty Simpson out of Alabama. So now you got 3 SEC quarterbacks for the Rams QB room. Still got Matthew Stafford. You still got Stetson Bennett. And now you got Ty Simpson. When's he going to start? Does Matthew Stafford got a little bit left in him? I think he might have another couple years left. And then when he's gone, then it's going to probably go down between Stetson Bennett and Ty Simpson there. The Baltimore Ravens with the 14th pick. And if I'm saying this correct, don't get mad. Is it Olivia Vega Ione?
If one of y'all says some silly ass name, this whole class is going to feel my wrath.
Offensive guard out of Penn State. He goes to the Baltimore Ravens. 15th pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers get Reuben Bain Jr., an edge rusher out of Miami. That's who I wanted the Saints to pick up at edge rusher. Jets with their 2nd pick in the first round. 16th pick, they get tight end Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon, which was a big steal there. Lions with the 17th pick, they get offensive tackle Blake Miller out of Clemson. The 18th pick, Vikings get defensive tackle Caleb Banks out of Florida. Panthers at the 19th pick, they get Monroe Freeling, offensive tackle from Georgia. The 20th pick was a trade courtesy of the Dallas Cowboys, went to the Philadelphia Eagles. They get a big player here, wide receiver Mekhi Lemon out of USC. The 21st pick, since Pittsburgh hosted the draft, they finally got their first pick. Everyone was happy about it. They get offensive tackle Max Ahinyakor out of Arizona State. Chargers with the 22nd pick. I like this one right here. They get edge rusher Akeem Mesidor out of Miami. Cowboys with the 23rd pick. They get edge rusher Malachi Lawrence out of UCF. This was also a trade. That was they swapped picks there. Cleveland Browns back on the board for the first round. Their 2nd pick in the first round. They get wide receiver KC Concepcion out of Texas A&M. Bears with the 25th pick. They get safety Dylan Feynman out of Oregon. Then the Texans are finally on the clock. 26th pick, they get offensive guard Keelan Rutledge out of Georgia Tech. This was a trade courtesy of the Buffalo Bills. 27th pick, Miami back on the board for the first round. They get cornerback Chris Johnson out of San Diego State, courtesy of the 49ers trading that pick. Patriots, the 28th pick started with the Bills, then to the Texans, and the Texans traded it to the Patriots. Patriots get offensive tackle Caleb Lomu out of Utah, so Imagine him and Will Campbell being your two offensive tackles for Drake May in that offense. Chiefs back on the board for their second first-round pick. And 29th pick, they get defensive tackle Peter Woods out of Clemson. The New York Jets, third pick in the first round. So they went with an edge rusher and a tight end, and they get back on the board, and they get wide receiver Omar Cooper Jr. out of Indiana. Started as a trade for the 49ers, had it, then traded it to the Dolphins, and traded it to the Jets. And Omar Cooper's that receiver that had that significant one-handed catch against Penn State that saved their undefeated streak. Still a highlighted moment from last season. The Tennessee Titans with the 31st pick, they get edge rusher Keldrick Falk out of Auburn, which was a trade from the Bills to the Patriots, then to the Titans. And then the final pick that started with the Bills, then gave it to the Seahawks, winning it. They draft only the second running back in the first round, and from Notre Dame, Jadarian Price. So the only two running backs that were taken from the first round came from the Fighting Irish, from Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. That's the first round right there. From second round through the seventh, I'm just going to go by both the teams I cover with their picks and some like picks I looked and I was like, holy crap, or even like LSU guys as well. So picks from the second round that had me at all. In the Bills drafted TJ Parker, an edge rusher out of Clemson. The Houston Texans actually had two picks in the second round. They get defensive tackle Caden McDonald from Ohio State and tight end Marlon Klein out of Michigan. The Browns get Denzel Brown, wide receiver out of Washington. Saints back on the board. They get defensive tackle Christian Miller out of Georgia. Miami picking up linebacker Jacob Rodriguez out of Texas Tech. I liked that pick. Jets making noise, which is why they got an A. I think it was an A- in their draft class. D'Angelo Pons, cornerback from Indiana. The Indianapolis Colts, man, they had a hell of a night for rounds 2 and 3. They picked up two big defensive guys for that Colts defense. In the second round, they picked up C.J. Allen, linebacker out of Georgia. I was waiting to see where C.J. was going. Now that he's going to be a Colt, you better watch that Colts defense. Jacksonville finally on the board for the first time, and they picked up tight end Nate Burkircher out of Texas A&M. Cleveland picked up a safety. We were waiting to hear where he was going to end up. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren out of Toledo. I had him going to the Cowboys. I had him as a first-round pick, but he went to the second round to the Cleveland Browns. And then the Seattle Seahawks. I liked this pick right here just as much as picking up Jadarian Price. Safety Bud Clark out of TCU. Solid pick for that Seahawks defense. I like it. By the third round, this is when the picks were coming in like hotcakes, man. And it started with the Arizona Cardinals picking up Carson Beck at quarterback, 65th overall pick out of Miami. So now we're waiting to see who's going to get that starting role at QB1 for the Cardinals. Is it Jacoby Brissett, or will Carson Beck have something to say and he'll step up? Raiders had a great A in their draft, and then also picking up a great edge rusher in Kayron Crawford from Auburn. The Commanders picking up Antonio Williams out of Clemson at wide receiver. That was another big pick for Washington and another target for Jaden Daniels to throw at. Saints picking up tight end Oscar Delp out of Georgia. Despite getting Noah Fant in a trade, I mean, I think that's going to come down to these two of who could be that starting tight end for the Saints. The Giants picking up Malachi Fields out of Notre Dame at wide receiver. I like this for Jackson Dart. Going to be a good one there. Miami picking the Miami Dolphins, picking up another Red Raider, wide receiver Caleb Douglas. I like this pick right here. Pittsburgh Steelers got them another quarterback, and that's going to be debatable of who's going to start. Is it going to be Drew Allard out of Penn State? Or is it going to be Will Howard? That's going to be one of your two starting quarterbacks. You ain't got to worry about Mason Rudolph. You either got a Penn State Nittany Lion or an Ohio State Buckeye going to take over that QB1 position for the Steelers. Colts back on the board. Another LSU Tiger gone. A.J. Halsey at safety. I love this pick. Congrats to A.J. going to the Colts. And Xavier Thomas, another LSU Tiger gone in the third round, going to the Chicago Bears, 89th pick. Another target for Caleb Wilson if he gets that third slot at wide receiver. It's going to be a challenge with that one. That's just all I had for the third round. Fourth round picks that had me at all. And it started with a guy we were waiting to get called up. Jermon McCoy, a cornerback from Tennessee. He was the very first pick in the 4th round. He's with the Raiders. Cardinals get, outside of LSU, the only player from the FCS I saw get drafted, defensive tackle Caleb Proctor from Southeastern Louisiana. Shout out to the Lions and Hammond. They got a guy in the pros now. He's going to the Cardinals. Chargers getting Bryn Thompson, wide receiver out of Mississippi State. That was a big one there. Okay, the Houston Texans, they finally drafted an O-line. They got some protection for C.J. Stroud. Fabichi Nwawu, did I say it right? I think I did. The offensive guard out of Oklahoma. He was the 107th pick, so the Texans got them a guard. New York Jets getting another quarterback. Cade Klubnik out of Clemson. I was kind of a shock there, but now you look at that Jets quarterback room. I mean, yeah, they need somebody to be that QB1, because I'm pulling up the Jets quarterback room. You still got Brady Cook. I saw what he did against the Saints. He didn't do shit. You still got Geno Smith. Plus you got Bailey Zapp, if I said his name right there, out of Western Kentucky. Possibly it could come down with Geno Smith and Cade Klubnik to be QB1 for those Jets. Raiders picking up Mike Washington, running back out of Arkansas, had me at all. And then the last 3 were teams I covered. The Houston Texans getting a linebacker, Wade Woodess out of Clemson. I could see him be more of an outside linebacker, going to be lined up there with Brian Wilson and all that. And then the New Orleans Saints had 2 4th-round picks here. They get offensive guard Jeremiah Wright out of Auburn. They needed some more O-line. I could see him lining up probably at like right guard with Cesar Ruiz at left. And then you got, of course, Taliesin Fuaga at tackle and Caleb Banks. And then, of course, you got Eric McCoy at center. And then at wide receiver, man, I feel like this was a steal here, and I love this. They get another wide receiver. They get Bryce Lance from North Dakota State. I still remember that catch that he had last season, bringing the Bison in the postseason. And also the younger brother of Trey Lance. Remember Trey Lance? He was drafted by the 49ers from North Dakota State. Now he's currently with the LA Chargers now. So we got both Lance brothers, and there's a little set of brothers already in the NFL, and that's another set, and I love this. 5th round, I've only put four picks here. I kind of had me at all. The Houston Texans, of course, picked it up safety and Kamara Ramsey out of USC. That might have been maybe their best pick in the whole draft. There's Kamari Ramsey. 49ers drafting a Raging Cajun, Jaden Duger, linebacker from the Raging Cajuns. So that's one thing about them 49ers, man. They love to draft some Raging Cajuns. And the Jacksonville Jaguars picking up the only Houston Cougar that got drafted. Tight end Tanner Kazoil. So now that's 2 tight ends that the Jags picked up in this draft. Remember, they also picked up Nate Burkircher as well from Texas A&M. And then the New Orleans Saints picked up another Ohio State Buckeye to add to their list. Lorenzo Styles Jr. at safety. I like that pick. Going into the 6th round, I have about 6 or 7 picks here that had me at all. The Cleveland Browns. Do you think they need any more quarterbacks, really? They added another one. Quarterback Taylor Green out of Arkansas. Tennessee Titans picking up Jackie Marshall out of Baylor. That was a nice pick there, defensive tackle. I'm going to jump the boat here. 3 LSU players getting drafted in the 6th round. Before I get to those, let's talk about the other 2. I have it all. Commanders getting Katron Allen, running back from Penn State, and the Houston Texans getting their final pick in the NFL draft, wide receiver Lewis Bond out of Boston College. Let's talk about these other 3 Tigers getting called up in the 6th round. One, I absolutely love where he's at because it hasn't been, I think, when was the last time the Saints drafted a Tiger? Was it Will Clapp? I think it was Will Clapp. I said Al Woods on another show, but I think it was Will Clapp. Saints got Berrien Brown at the 190th pick, so they picked up 3 wide receivers in the draft. Love that. And we finally drafted an LSU Tiger. It's been quite a while. However, we got 2 that got called up that is going to be on a division rival I can't stand, Bo or Sharp. At tight end, he's going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This one hurt me really the most in the whole draft. Harold Perkins Jr. at linebacker going to the Atlanta Falcons. That's probably like a middle finger to us for saying, y'all took Caden Ellis back. You know what? We're going to take a Tiger and make him a Falcon, and y'all going to really have to hate him. And that sucks, man. I loved Harold Perkins Jr. He's got to go play for one of the teams I hate with a passion in the Atlanta Falcons. And then the 7th round, I only have 5 picks in here that had me at all. The Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals and the Steelers drafted 2 guys from the Navy Academy. Bengals got Landon Robinson at defensive tackle. Hey, congratulations. Welcome to the NFL. But do the Bengals, they need to draft offensive line for Joe Burrow. I'm pretty sure they did, but I didn't even tally all their picks. It's just the ones that had me at all. But, man, outside of Drew Lar going to the Steelers, I really loved this right here. They drafted a kid from Pittsburgh that was a running back for the Naval Academy, and Eli Heidenreich. He was the 230th pick, who just did – he just did something he did some, naval stuff. After doing basic training, all that, he was shipped away, and they sent him back to get drafted, and then they're going to send him back out in the Navy, I think, after he leaves the NFL or something, or after 5 years in the NFL, something like that. I remember we were talking about it on open mic. But, man, the ovation they gave this kid as, not just a hometown man, but a hometown hero. They acknowledged this kid, waving the terrible towel. They gave him a Steeler helmet. They better make this kid the starting running back. If I try and pull the Steelers running back room up, see who would he have to take that spot from. But other than that, the New England Patriots drafting them another quarterback. So Drake May's got some help. They get quarterback Byron Morton from Texas Tech. I actually like that. So if it don't work out with Drake May, they got somebody else. And how about this? Of all the quarterbacks that got drafted, you got to I wouldn't say save the best for last. But the final quarterback that got drafted in 2026, LSU's own Garrett Nussmeier, was drafted 249th to the Kansas City Chiefs. So now Patrick Mahomes got some backup and some help as well. Now, let's say he may stay 4 or 5 seasons with the Chiefs. Unless something happens with Mahomes, that's the only way I can see him playing in regular season, because I know Mahomes sounded like a long-term contract a couple years back. It was like a 10, 15-year deal. So obviously he's going to retire as a Chief. So maybe this could be like a starting ground for Garrett Nussmeier, learn from one of the very best in Mahomes, get some reps in preseason. You might get some reps in the regular season, like if they need to bench Mahomes a little bit, or if he has any minor injuries, or if he does get injured where he can't play a game, give him some reps. And then when his contract goes up, go get traded and go be a franchise quarterback for a team of your own. I think he can maybe get it done. I mean, we'll see what happens there. But back in that running back room for the Steelers, you still got guys like Caleb Johnson, Max Hurlman, Travis Homer, Rico Dowdle, and Lewis Nichols. They could make this kid the starting running back. I think their starting running back is Caleb Johnson, if I'm correct. But that's all I got on the whole NFL draft with my all picks here. I will do everything on the Saints tomorrow, like I said. Let me just get down to how I think the Texans did, since we're about to go to the H-Town talk. Despite the trades they gave away in the offseason, I went down this list. They had literally a total of 21 picks, but a bunch of these they traded. They've only drafted 8 players. And anytime they had more than one pick in a round, they ended up drafting a player and trading the other pick, which I felt was kind of stupid. I felt like there was a bunch of clowns in that draft room. I mean, look at the first round. They had 2 first-round picks. They picked up Keelan Rutledge, but they traded the 28th pick to the Bills. In the second round, you had 2 picks. You ended up getting Caden McDonald, courtesy of the Raiders, but you traded that 38th pick via the Denver Broncos. You also had the 59th pick, which, I mean, you had 3 picks in the second round, so you drafted 2 out of 3. You also got Marlon Klein out of Michigan. This is what got me here. They literally had 3 picks in the 3rd round, and they did not pick nobody in the 3rd round. They gave the 69th pick to the Bills, and they had back-to-back picks, the 90th and 91st. They gave those to the Dolphins and the Raiders. When they got to the 4th round, they had a total of 4 picks, but they drafted 2. They drafted 2 out of 4. They got that guard Nawayu from Oklahoma, courtesy of Washington, and they picked up linebacker Wade Woodis, courtesy of the Chargers. They also traded the 117th pick to the Chargers, courtesy of teams like the Raiders had it first and gave it to the Jags and gave it to the Vikings. They gave it to us, and then they gave it to the Chargers. It's crazy. And then the 128th pick they gave to the Detroit Lions. So, correction, they actually had it was 4 picks. When they got to the 5th round, they had 2 picks. They drafted Kamari Ramsey, but they gave the 167th pick that started with the Eagles. They traded to Houston, but gave it to Buffalo. They got to the 6th round. They literally had 4 picks, and they only drafted 1 player. They drafted Louis Bond from Boston College, 204th pick. They would have had back-to-back. Well, they had the 198th pick. They gave it. The Vikings gave it to them, and then they gave it back to the Vikings. They had literally back-to-back picks at 203 and 204th. The Eagles gave them the 203rd pick, and they give it right back to Philly. And then after getting Louis Bond, they had the 207th pick. They give that to the Rams. And then last but not least, when they get to the 7th round, they literally had 3 consecutive picks. 243rd, they got their final player. They drafted Aiden Fisher out of Indiana. 244th, they gave it to the Vikings. And the 245th pick that started with the Rams, and they gave it to the Texans. They gave it to the Jacksonville Jaguars. ESPN graded that draft class a C or a C minus. There's another website that gave them a higher grade. To me, I'd have gave this damn shit a D. They should have had about 10 or 11 players drafted. That was insane trading so many of these picks. You got two offensive linemen out of this, which CJ Stroud needs protection. You got you a tight end, you got you a couple defensive players. You got you another wide receiver to add to the mix. But, man, I don't know about the Texans, man, in this draft. I mean, a lot of people were not happy. I won't be surprised if they don't win the division or don't get a deep playoff run with how this draft came about. But we're going to see. But, hey, that's all I got on the NFL. Well, one more thing. Shout out to the 7 LSU Tigers. Again, that got drafted in the from the 1st round to the 6th round. Mansour Delane, A.J. Halsey, Xavier Thomas, Bo Rashart, Darian Brown, Harold Perkins Jr., and Garrett Nussmeier all getting called up. I know the SEC had the most players drafted. I think they said 87 SEC players were drafted. The Big Ten was not far behind. Now, if we're talking about the 1st round, the Big Ten dominated that. Ohio State dominated the draft again. Ohio State had more players for the 2nd year in a row drafted in the 1st round than any other team in college football. Big Ten dominated the 1st round. They had 10 picks. 4 came from Ohio State. 2 came from Indiana. 7 from the SEC and the Big 12 in the 1st round. ACC had 5 in the 1st round. Mountain West had 1. And then, of course, just Notre Dame alone with 2. Also in the 1st round, the offense, the O-line dominated the 1st round. 9 total offensive linemen, 7 guards and 7 tackles and 2 guards were called up in the 1st round, with 5 edge rushers, 5 wide receivers, and everything else was in 2s. 2 cornerbacks, 2 defensive tackles, 2 safeties, 2 running backs, and 2 quarterbacks all gone in the 1st round. But the top 5 schools with the most players drafted in the 1st round, Ohio State was up top at 4. Miami was at 3, and a 3-way tie with Indiana, Clemson, and Arizona State with each 2 players drafted in the 1st round. Everyone else with 1. So that's about the numbers I have there. And don't shock me or not, but, I may have been one of the only people that thought that Diego Pavia was going to get drafted. Did not get drafted. Hell, I thought he could have been Mr. Irrelevant. But no, actually, Mr. Irrelevant went to linebacker Red Murdoch from Buffalo. He went to the Denver Broncos, so he was Mr. Irrelevant. But found out earlier today that he was invited to a mini camp from the Baltimore Ravens, and he signed a 3-year deal with the Baltimore Ravens. I don't think he starts over Lamar Jackson. But if Lamar Jackson's numbers are coming, or if he's not doing too good, or if his contract comes up and they request a trade, then it may be time for Diego Pavia to step up. But to be honest, I don't know how that's going to go about with Diego Pavia. I mean, it still shocked me that – didn't really shock me he didn't get drafted, but, I mean, it kind of shocked me he ended up finding a home in the Baltimore Ravens. So we'll see there. But that's all really I got on the NFL draft. Speaking of H-Town, let's go ahead and take it to the 713 because we're going to talk some H-Town stuff, folks. So let's get to it. Jump to the 713, and we're going to jump straight to Dynamo Talk and talk the Houston Dynamo. Let's go. Yes, sir. We're going to start the 713 talk with the Houston Dynamo, and I'm so proud of this team. I made a promise. You heard it a week ago. I said they had 2 matchups last week. I said if they can win at least one matchup, I was going to wear a jersey on the air. The first matchup at the Shell, they beat San Diego 1-0. Numbers in this game, 28.5% possession. 3 shots on goal, 11 shot attempts, 10 fouls, 2 yellow cards, 1 red card, 1 corner kick, and 1 save. The only goal scored in that game was in 35 minutes of play with Ibrahim Aliyu. He hit a right-footed shot from the right side of the box to the top left corner, and it was assisted by Andre Linger. Now, the second matchup, the Texas Derby, I saw this coming. They went to Q2 Stadium to play Austin FC. They ended up losing that game 2-0, no score, but they had 54.6% possession against Austin. 5 shots on goal, 11 shot attempts, 2 yellow cards, 5 corner kicks, and 2 saves. If I did not update their status in this one so far, but no, it's been updated. The Houston Dynamo are currently 4 wins, 0 draws, 5 losses this season, and they're 9th in the West. And what's coming up for the Houston Dynamo? Well, we're going to be in a new month this weekend. Alexa, play Justin Timberlake because it's going to be May. All right. They got a round of 16 game with Louisville tomorrow night, but don't count for MLS. This is one of those. This is that like battle with MLS versus whatever that league they're in, that Louisville team's in. I forgot. I don't even watch that league. This Saturday, they're hosting Colorado, taking on the Colorado Rapids. Hopefully they can get a win there. So big shouts to the Houston Dynamo. Hope you enjoyed your little intro video I made. About time we got you one. About time everyone's getting one after 1 year. I'll go ahead and get this team out of the way since they play at the Shell. I'm going to talk the Houston Gamblers because they finally won a game. We'll go ahead and recap Week 5 of the UFL and predict Week 6 real fast. So let's talk Houston Gamblers. Struggle win, but hey, I'll take it. They beat the Columbus Aviators 17-13. They're now 2-3 of the season. Nolan Anderson went 13 for 25, 146 passing yards. He also led in rushing, 6 carries for 37 yards and 1 rushing touchdown. Jalen White had 9 carries for 32 yards and a rushing touchdown. Marcus Major, 9 carries for 27 yards. Lawrence Keys led in receiving. He had 3 catches for 43 yards. Jandre Kirkland had 3 catches for 32 yards. The offense alone, 35 total carries for 120 total rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. The receiving end, 13 total catches for 146 total receiving yards against the Aviators. The defense, 57 total tackles, 35 solo, 3 sacks, 6 tackles for a loss, 2 broken up passes, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries. Defense was on a roll, probably their best performance all season, and I didn't even watch the game. Recapping Week 5, Defenders beat the Stallions 45-28. Stallions is dog shit. Battlehawks gave the Orlando Storm their first loss of the season. No more perfect teams left. They won 25-17. 28-17. And the Louisville Kings upset the Dallas Renegades 47-25. Here's what we got for week 6 of the the UFL. And what about it? 2 weeks in a row, the Houston Gamblers are going to play the Columbus Aviators, but it starts Thursday night. Battlehawks at the Kings, 7 p.m. on FS1. Give me the Battlehawks. Then Friday, May 1st, we got the rematch, the Gamblers and the Aviators. Can they beat them 2 consecutive times? 7 p.m. on Fox. I'm hoping they can get it done because the Aviators are 1-4. I think they can pull it off again. Then Saturday, Renegades and the Defenders. This could be my game of the week, but you know what? I'm going for once. I'm going to take the Defenders to beat the Renegades. And then Sunday, we got the Stallions and the Storm. I'm going with the Orlando Storm to take down the Birmingham Stallions. So that about recap the UFL and the Houston Gamblers. Let's go ahead and get on the diamond, and let's go ahead and talk some Astros talk, shall we? All right, this is Astros Talk, where I talk the Houston Astros, and not the best weekend they had, but they didn't get swept. They took on the New York Yankees, who's probably one of the tougher teams in Major League Baseball. They dropped game 1, 12-4. They dropped game 2, 8-3, but they picked up a win in game 3 with Spencer Arguetti on the mound. They win 7-4. So as of right now, the record don't look good, but they're currently 11-19 of the season right now. While in their division, they are still dead last in the AL West. In the American League, they're dead last in the American League. But overall, they're third worst team. Still above the Phillies and the Mets. Despite all the injuries we got, I mean, it's just win or die at this time. But against the Yankees, the hitting crew had 14 runs, 25 hits, 4 doubles, 6 home runs, 14 RBIs, 47 total bases, 7 walks. They struck out 24 times. Their batting average was .253. Their OPP was .308. Their sluggage percentage was .475. And their OPS was .783. While on the pitching crew, they've allowed against the Yankees 32 hits, 22 errors, 8 home runs, 17 walks. They struck out 21 Yankees, and their ERA was 7.33. Still not the best number, but, I mean, at least they didn't get swept. I mean, there's really nothing we can do here until we get most of our guys back. I know they're currently in Baltimore for a 3-game series. They just dropped this game, game 1, 5-3 against the Orioles. Let's see some numbers in this game. But goddamn, the hitting crew had a total of 3 runs, 11 hits, 3 RBIs, 1 home run, 2 walks, and struck out 12 times against the Orioles. The pitching crew, they had Ting on the mound. He pitched in 3 innings. He allowed 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 errors, and he struck out 2 players out of 42 pitches. He threw 30 strikes, and his ERA was 2.75. Then they had Okert, West, and then it closed out with Souza. But the pitching crew had allowed a total of 9 hits, 5 runs, 5 errors, 2 walks, 8 they threw 8 strikeouts, and they allowed 1 home run on a total of 119 pitches and threw a total of 81 strikes in that game against Baltimore. They'll play again tomorrow night at 5:35, and then they'll wrap up Thursday at 11:35 a.m. against the Orioles. And then this weekend, first weekend of May, they got a road trip to Boston to take on the Red Sox in a 3-game series. And we know Boston was one of, even though they don't show that they're the worst team in the MLB, I still think they're one of the worst teams. Let's see who we got on the mound for the next 2 games with the Orioles. We got Peter Lambert versus Chris Bassett. Orioles are a favorite in that one. And then on Thursday, they wrap up with Lance McCullers Jr. taking on Brandon Young. Hopefully they can turn those around. And then this weekend with the Red Sox, The second time this season they're going to play them. The last time they played them, they swept them. Friday's game, we got Mike Burrows taking on Garrett Crochet, with Red Sox as a heavy favorite. On Saturday, we got Spencer Arguetti versus Connolly Early. Arguetti's starting, and he's still not a favorite. And then on Sunday, we got, it's still undecided, but whoever they decide is going to start against Ranger Suarez for the Red Sox. And then until next week's show, they're going to be back at home hosting the Dodgers, who probably the best team in MLB right now with that record. They're 20-9. So here we go. On day one, Yamamoto is going to start over Peter Lambert. Yoshinobu Mamamoto starting in that game. Game 2 with the Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani versus Lance McCullers Jr. Oh, shit. I love that starting lineup. And Wednesday, Tyler Glasnow and Mike Burrows for the final game with the Dodgers. Oh, Tuesday's game's going to be magic. I'm going to have to be sure to watch that. That's what we got. That's my Houston Astros talk for the night. Let's go ahead and wrap up the H-Town talk. Let's go ahead and see what the Rockets are doing in the playoffs. So get the lighters out, because it's time to light the fuse. This is Light the Fuse, where we do our talk on the Houston Rockets. And I can tell you what the Rockets were doing. They prevented getting swept by LeBron James and the Lakers without Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant expected to make his return on Friday if he could stay healthy. But let's just say in their last 2 games, they dropped game. It was game 3. They dropped game 3 in overtime, 112-108 back on Friday. Let's see some numbers in that game. Şengün led in points and rebounds. He had 33 points and 18 rebounds, and Reed Shepherd led in assists with 7 in that game. But they picked up a win. They prevented that sweep to happen in game 4. They beat the Lakers 115-96 back on Sunday. They will play game 5 tomorrow night at 9 p.m. on ESPN. Do or die for the Rockets. Amin Thompson in that win in game 4. He led in that game with 23 points. Tyree Eason led in rebounds with 8, and Amin Thompson led in assists with 7. And if the Rockets can keep it going, this could be the last game without Kevin Durant. He's expected to make his return on May 1st. So if the playoffs are still going, if Rockets win game 5 tomorrow, Kevin Durant will be back for game 6 on Friday, May 1st in Houston. And if necessary, they play a game 7. It will be Sunday, May 3rd in LA. But as of right now, they're going back to LA tomorrow night. It's going to be tough. I would not be surprised if they lose this game, but I would not be surprised if they pull the upset and beat the Lakers at home in the postseason. So they're on thin ice of getting knocked out of the first round. They prevented a sweep from happening. Thank you, Jesus. Because as of right now, I think the Phoenix Suns are the only team that got swept so far by OKC. We'll look at the NBA playoff updates later. Let's go ahead. That's my talk in the 713. Let's go ahead and take it to my neck of the woods and talk some baseball in Southwest Louisiana. Let's go to the 337.
I love to have a good time. I love to.
Fucking A. Leave it to AI to fuck shit up. AI's always got to fuck shit up. I had the perfect video ready to go, and as soon as I uploaded, they got to add some shit like that. And what does it do to me?
They rip your heart out of your ass.
I'm going to still keep that video. But yeah, we're back on the bus. We're in Southwest Louisiana. Let's do some baseball recaps. We'll start with McNeese. We'll recap baseball and softball. I know softball just lost to LSU just now, but McNeese baseball is currently 23-21 of the season, 11-13 in the Southland Conference, 14-14 at home at the show, 9-7 on the road. Let's see what happened this past weekend for the Pokes. They hosted UT Rio Grande Valley, lost the series 2-1. They lost game 1, 8-7 in extra innings. They won game 2, 5-3, and they dropped game 3 in extra innings, 10-7. They play the Houston Cougars tomorrow night at Schroeder Park. And then this weekend, they go on the road, their final conference road series of the regular season. They go to Nacogdoches to play Stephen F. Austin, 6 p.m. on Friday, 6 p.m. on Saturday, 1 p.m. on Sunday. So we'll see what happens with McNeese there. McNeese Cowgirls softball team, they're now 35-19 after that loss to LSU. 18-9 in the South Flynn Conference. 22-9 at home. Not a bad record, but 12-9 on the road. I mean, that's really not that bad. They got a decent team. But, this past weekend, they went to Commerce, Texas. Swept the Lions, by the way. They played a doubleheader on Saturday, winning 13-5 and 6-0, and shut them out again on Saturday, 9-0. So that's what happened there. And then, of course, they just lost to LSU, 16-0. So what's next for that? Wraps up the regular season for the Cowgirls. Now they're going to go into conference tournament play. They're going to play. They're hosting the Southland Conference tournament, by the way, which is a good sign. But they're going to start off in the first round taking on Stephen F. Austin. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can get the bracket up for how this is going to go. For the this is how the tournaments are going to go. So actually, it's split. Both Lake Charles and Hammond is hosting the Southland Conference softball tournament April 30th through May 3rd, with the championship series just taking place May 7th through the 9th. So meanwhile, in Hammond, we got Incarnate Word versus Lamar, Southeastern versus Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And then, of course, the winner moves on. Loser falls in the loser bracket. It's like double elimination. While in the Lake Charles bracket, you got McNeese taking on Stephen F. Austin and Nichols taking on Northwestern State. So that's the bracket right there. And I'm going to do my best throughout the week to keep up with the bracket and give you guys an update on how the softball team does. So that's all I got on softball. Their regular season just wrapped up. Again, their overall record in the regular season, 35-19. It's actually not that bad for McNeese softball. So that'll wrap that up. Look, now we'll do this new segment, the segment Baseball in Southwest Louisiana. Let's see how the Raging Cajuns are doing in LSU Eunice. Let's see what we got here. The Raging Cajuns are currently 26-18 overall. Their Sunbelt record is 9-12. They're 18-7 at the Teague and 8-11 on the road. And this past weekend, they went to Jonesboro to take on Arkansas State. They won the series. They won 2 out of 3. They won game 1 3-2 and won game 2 11-5 and dropped the final game 8-3. And then they just hosted Southern, won 15-5. Tomorrow night they host Nichols, and then this weekend they host Georgia State. And I think they got a couple. They got. After this, they got 2 more series left. So they host Georgia State Friday, May 1st at 6, Saturday, May 2nd at 2, and Sunday, May 3rd at 1 p.m. And then Tuesday, May 5th, they'll host New Orleans, and that's what they got until next show. Meanwhile, the LSUE Bengals. Oh, what the hell here? Did they not? Oh, wait. My bad. No, this is updated. My bad. They had a rivalry series with Delgado Community College. They're currently 39-9. The Bengals 16-4 in their conference. 2-game win streak right now, but they're 30-6 at Cajun Prairie and 9-3 on the road. They just got done playing Delgado, taking on the Dolphins. Won 3 out of 4. Not bad. They won game 1 12-2. They dropped the second game by 1 run, 6-5, and they won game 3, 12-9, and wrapped up the series in 5 innings, winning 13-3. They got 1 more series left. They go to Chalmette. They take on the Pelicans of Nunez Community College. 4-game series before they go into the NJCAA Region 3 tournament play, which is actually going to be in Chalmette, so they ain't going to have to go too far for that one. The District Championship Series, which is going to be a best out of 3. They haven't announced who's hosting it yet, but that's coming up next month. But if they make it to the World Series, May 23rd through the 30th, it's going to be in Grand Junction, Colorado. I remember they used to go to Enid, Oklahoma, and they did win one like somewhere in Tennessee. But that's probably the last positive baseball talk I'm going to have for the rest of the show, and that's going to wrap up baseball in Southwest Louisiana. Let's go ahead and jump to the 225. Oh, I wish I had a drink to get ready for this one. So you know what? Let's go ahead and jump to the 225, shall we? And go jump to some LSU baseball talk. Let's go. All right, now that we're in the 225, we're in Tigerland. Let's wrap all this up before I get to the NBA and Stanley Cup playoff updates, and I'm wrapping the show up. LSU baseball, I mean, it's over. I've been saying this week after week, it's over. And now you got swept by Mississippi State. 2 out of 3 games, you fucking had the lead and you fucking blew it. You dropped 10-8 in game 1. You blew that one. You blew the second game and lost 9-8. I don't think at one point you led in game 3. I barely fucking paid attention to it. But you lost 13-8. You got swept by the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. The hitting crew had a total of 24 runs, 32 hits, 5 doubles, 1 triple, 7 home runs, 23 RBIs, 13 walks, 1 intentional walk. You got hit by a pitch 4 times. You struck out 35 times. You had 3 sacrifice hits, 2 stolen bases, and your batting average was .263. Batting average was okay, but it could have been fucking better. The pitching crew, holy shit, where do I even start here? You allowed 31 hits, 32 runs, 27 errors, 22 walks, 26 strikeouts. We struck out 26 people. You allowed 9 doubles, 8 home runs. You threw 9 wild pitches, and you hit 6 batters, and your ERA was 9.37. Dog shit. Now everybody's saying, oh, it's the injuries. It's not the pitching coach's fault. Bullshit. Wait, where's he at? Where's he at?
Bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit.
Fucking guys, fucking team, man, they fucking suck! I'm gonna hate fuck this shit out of you, ref!
And they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
That is literally my current mood for LSU baseball right now. Like, I am literally counting the days down until freaking college football. Overall stats for LSU so far this season. Start with the hitting crew. So far this season, 352 runs, 421 hits, 71 doubles, 7 triples, 74 home runs, 311 RBIs, 243 walks, 4 intentional walks. You got hit by a pitch 66 times. You struck out 360 times. You grounded into double plays 25 times. You had 17 sacrifice flies, 11 sacrifice hits, 35 stolen bases. You got caught stealing 11 times, and your batting average for the season right now is .279. The pitching crew this season, holy shit, you ready for this? So far this season, they've allowed 340 hits, 268 runs, 231 errors, 220 walks. They struck out 534 batters. They've allowed 57 doubles, only 2 triples, 48 home runs. They threw 72 wild pitches. They've only had 1 balk all season still. They hit 60 batters. They had allowed 9 intentional walks. And they've allowed 11 saves, and their ERA average of the season, 5.35. It just gets worse for the pitching crew. They did not do good in the transfer portal, I believe. They need a new pitching coach. They need a new fucking strength and conditioning coach if they got these many fucking injuries. But as of right now, LSU, who were the defending national champions, are not playing like national champs. They're currently 24-21 overall. You're 6-15 in the SEC. Are you fucking shitting me?
There is no passion, there is no vision, there is no aggression, there is no fucking mindset in this football.
They're not a football club. I've cut the clip off there. You're on a 3-game losing streak right now. Your home record is 18-11, and you are fucking shitless on the road. You are 3-10 on the road, Jay Johnson. Oh my God, they need to clean house and make you more ready for football season. What's next for LSU? Oh, they're playing Southeastern tonight. I need to go get an update on this shit. While I get an update on that, they will play South Carolina this weekend at the Box. It's one of 2 series left at the Box. They're not ranked, so, I mean, I don't even know what their record is, but maybe they can bounce back. 6:30 on Friday, 6 p.m. on Saturday, 2 p.m. on Sunday. Tuesday, they host Tulane. All right, let's see how they're doing right now. Wow. Thank you, Jesus. Jesus sent me the notification. They won. They beat Southeastern 12-4. So, well, they won a game finally. They're supposed to beat Southeastern. Hey, there were times they did not fucking beat Southeastern. Meanwhile, softball right now currently 33-16, 10-11 in the SEC, 24-5 at home, and 8-7 on the road. Meanwhile, let's see how LSU softball did this past weekend. They took on Mississippi State as well. They lost the series, though. They lost 5-3 in game 1, 5-2 in game 2, but picked up the win in game 3, 5-3. They just beat McNeese 16-0, so actually that needs to be updated to 34-16 right now. And let's see what they got next after beating Mississippi State, McNeese. They host Auburn this weekend, and this is their final series of the regular season. They host Auburn at Tiger Park, 6 p.m. on Thursday, 6 on Friday, 4 on Saturday. Then they head out to SEC play in Lex. The University of Kentucky is hosting the SEC softball tournament, so hell yeah. Once I know more about that, I'll give you guys an update. But let's go ahead and let's do a quick recap of the NBA playoffs. I know for sure we saw a sweep not long ago. I know OKC swept they swept the Phoenix Suns. But I'm not going to go too far back. Let's go back to let's go back to Friday or Saturday. Or you know what? I'm not even going to do it like that. I'm kind of ready to wrap this up. I'll kind of give an update on how the series is going right now. In the Western Conference, Thunder swept the Suns. In their final game, they won 131-122. They move on. They're going to play the winner of the Lakers and the Rockets. They're going to play game 5 tomorrow night. See if the Rockets can keep it alive because the Lakers are 1 win away from advancing to play the Thunder. While on the other end of the West, Nuggets and the Timberwolves has been a hell of a series so far. They don't play again till Thursday. Minnesota needs 1 more win to advance, or will the Denver Nuggets and the Joker make it 7 games? While on the other end, the San Antonio Spurs are 1 win away of advancing, eliminating the Trailblazers. They're up by 20 right now at halftime, 65-45. And I don't know if Victor's back. I know he was on concussion protocol the other day. Let's see if they got any numbers on Victor. Because I'm going to just tell you this right now. I know they're a rivalry, a little I-10 rivalry, whatever. I don't hate the Spurs. I hate the fucking Dallas Mavericks. If the Rockets get eliminated by the Lakers, I'm riding with San Antonio the rest of the postseason. Victor is back. He is in the game. He's already had 7 points. God damn, I hate this fucking update. 4 rebounds, 1 assist. He's doing good. Not the good numbers, but hey, Victor's back. Victor Wembanyama's back. But you heard it here. If the Rockets get eliminated, I'm riding with the Spurs in the rest of the postseason. Let's look at the East right now. I know tomorrow night the Pistons will play the Magic. Orlando's one more win away of eliminating the Pistons, who is the number 1 seed right now in the East. Talk about would shake things up in the Eastern Conference if the number 1 seed gets eliminated like that. Cavs and the Raptors is tied 2-2, but this has been a fun series. Knicks and the Hawks has been fun and dramatic at the same time. But the Knicks are 1 win away. They will play Game 6 on Thursday. They actually just played a game. I think they played last night, and the Knicks won. So they're going to play again on Thursday. And I know Celtics and the Sixers, they just played earlier. The Celtics, I think, beat the Sixers. So the Celtics are 1 win away from advancing, while the Sixers already have 2 games won. They have to at least get to Game 6 to try and get a chance to eliminate them. But that's your update on the NBA playoffs. One more topic, because let me tell you what. Talladega, Jack Links 500, I was so pissed off with Bubba Wallace did. I didn't put shit down. All I know is Tyler Reddick cost me money. He didn't fucking win. And William Byron cost me money and didn't win, thanks to Bubba Wallace. The guy who won Talladega, I don't even know his name. I didn't even type shit up for it. Meanwhile, the Stanley Cup playoffs has been pretty interesting as well. So far, only 2 teams have advanced. The Avalanche, who is the number 1 team in the West, the only team to advance so far, they swept the LA Kings. They're going to play the winner of the Stars and the Wild, which has been a hell of a wild game, all right. I was watching this before we went live. Minnesota now leads 3-2, so I want to say I think the Stars just lost. Yeah, they lost 4-2. They lost to the Stars 4-2. They lost to the Wild 4-2. Vegas and Utah, hell of a series right there. They went into overtime last night. Vegas tied the series 2-2. So they're kicking ass, and the Ducks need 1 more win to eliminate the Oilers, but right now, since it's in Edmonton, the Oilers have dominated the first period, up 3-0. I think they got this game locked in. They're going to force a Game 6. I could see that going to 7 games. While in the Eastern Conference, Buffalo, who is the number 1 team in the East, they're 1 win away from eliminating the Bruins. They're up 3-2 in the series. Lightning and the Canadiens are tied 2-2, another great series right there. The Carolina Hurricanes, who's also the number 1 in this bracket, but I think they're the better team in the East, not the Sabres. They swept the Senators. They were the first team to sweep somebody in the Stanley Cup playoffs this season. They're moving on, and they're going to play the winner of a fun series I've loved watching, the Battle of PA, the Penguins and the Flyers. The Flyers were up 3-0, and now the Penguins have just won 2 in a row. That would be some shit if the Penguins can force 7 games and blow a 3-0 lead in the Flyers. That would be hilarious. And shouts to Adam and Rich. They would love that with their Pittsburgh Penguins. But that's going to wrap up the Stanley Cup playoffs, and that's going to really kind of wrap up the show. But before I close out, I just got to say it's been a hell of a ride the last year with this show. And for the bottom of my heart, I got to say thank you to everyone who made this last year kick ass with this show. Back on Driving to the Top Productions, and I've been with Driving to the Top since 2023. I started with a show called SAT Sports where I talked the Saints, the Astros, and the Tigers. But then I wanted to kind of jump more, talk more other teams, talk leagues, talk pop culture, whatnot. So I pulled the plug on SAT. I had Sportsmania Plus for a little while. That was also part of Driving to the Top. But then I left Driving to the Top for shit. I felt like I left them forever, but I didn't. I only left them for maybe like 6 months. Tried to go do another show, didn't work well. And then it was April 27th, 2025. I debuted this show on YouTube. I just went 30 minutes to recap last year's draft and talked about what I would mainly be talking on this show. So for all the H-Town love I've given from the Houston Astros, the Rockets, the Cougars, the Texans, hell, even the Houston Dynamo. You're going to get that continuing on throughout the show. 337. I did try to talk the Beaumont Renegades in the 409, but unfortunately they don't know how to post shit on their website, so I had to kind of pull the Renegades out to talk there. While in the 337 that I mainly focus on McNeese football, all sports actually for McNeese, football, basketball, and baseball and softball. And for the Raging Cajuns, mainly football, but I've also took them into baseball. And threw in my alma mater, LSU Eunice, the greatest junior college baseball team, not just in the state, in the country. Threw them in there. It was fun talking to them. I even threw a bonus in. I talked in the Lake Charles Gumbo Gators last year. I might consider bringing them back for the summer to give me something else to talk about outside of the Astros, the Dynamo, and hell, even FIFA World Cup. So I'm going to probably bring them back. The 225, I've always focused on just LSU in general, all LSU sports, football, basketball, baseball, softball. That's going to continue. And then, of course, the 504, the big three out of New Orleans, the Saints, the Pelicans, and Tulane. And that's going to continue on as well. So it's been a hell of a fun ride covering all them teams within the last year and met some wonderful people. We got wonderful, great people of Driving to the Top Productions. Big thank you to guys like Adam. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here right now. Big thank you to Rich as well. Kind of jumping the gun, making this a big worldwide sensation. Also, got to give other shout outs from Driving to the Top from guys like, Jamie, Joe, Jeremy, Jason. Those guys. I don't think I'm missing anybody else from. Oh, Rav. I got to give Rav a shout out as well. All these guys have come on the show and popped in. Great stuff to talk to. The Schmidt, Dylan Schmidt lurking. I can't forget him as well. Our Jacksonville Jag expert. Had him on the show a few times. All them guys are great and wonderful. So if you got a team like I said, the Jags, the Lions, the Steelers, the Bills, get a hold of these guys. The Ravens, that's the teams that all those guys cover. Outside of Driving to the Top, I got my boy Ken from Ken and Ken in the Morning and the Huddle Sports Network, our Chicago Bears guy. Had him on the show a couple times. We did crossovers. I even been on his show. And fun having him. Who else I want to give a shout out to? Oh, Bryce Coots from the Hawkeyes podcast, our Seattle Seahawks guy. We've done a couple crossovers. He brought some viewership on the show. We brought some numbers in that one. The most views I've ever had on a show. I got to give a shout out to a local guy, our boy Jordan Taylor from Under the Lights. I interviewed him and talked about his journey with UTL and what they do. Pulled the most views. I think we had nearly 100 views for just that video alone. So shout out to Jordan Taylor and UTL. They're doing great things over there. Now, shout out to everyone that made this special. I even had my first NFL player interview. I interviewed a former Saint, Marvin Powell. I interviewed him actually on Mardi Gras. I pulled some viewership for that one, and big thank you to him as well. And Logan Graffia from Sports A2F, he's going to be coming on tomorrow night, where we're going to recap the Saints draft picks and all that. He's been on the show a time or two. So that's about all I remember I had on the show within the last year. But year one's down. It was a fun year. Big thank you for all the love and support. And we're going to make year two even better. I'm going to bring some more content for y'all. Going to bring some new stuff, maybe some new ideas. I'm now officially AI. I got AI overlays, AI intros, outros, clips. Well, not the clips. I've got those personally myself, but like the intros going into the area codes that I cover. For my old tagline, I got teams in different area codes. But yeah, man, real talk, man. Thank y'all for all the love and support. This first year was challenging, but it got me back in my comfort zone to talk teams I love and the colleges I cover in the area. And I'm ready to continue this for yet another year. We're going to see what happens going into year two. So without any further ado, I'm going to wrap this up for the night. Thank y'all so much. God bless you all. God bless America. Peace, love, I'm out. If you want to stay up late again, I'm going to do part 2 of this 1-year anniversary special tomorrow night with Logan Graffia from Sports A2F. We're going to recap the Saints draft and grade their class and whatnot. Y'all be on the lookout if y'all going to stay up late. If not, it'll be available on demand on YouTube, Facebook, X, and now Instagram. So thank y'all again. Peace, love, I'm out. Y'all take care. See y'all tomorrow night.